Looking at the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen a massive push in digitalization. Many experts speak of a digital transformation, which has now been pushed even further due to the great advancements in artificial intelligence. Considering this, what have been the main challenges in your own professional context?
Okay, so perhaps it's good to start thinking a little bit about the changes what happened during the COVID period. And that was quite a big change, actually. It was that we quite rapidly needed to start to use, for example, Zoom and Teams for teaching and learning. And I think the most difficult it was for the pre-service teachers, because they usually do their practice at the school. So we have a training school, and pre-service teachers go to the practice school, and then they teach kids there. But that time they was a totally different situation, because they needed to start to use the distance learning equipments for that. So they didn't have any more possibility to go to the schools. And of course, it's usually they are at schools, but during the pandemic and during the time when the school was closed, all teaching happened via Teams, via Zoom, via different other perhaps equipments. And that was a big change for, especially for the pre-service teachers, because they didn't have any experience for that, and neither did we have, because of course usually the teaching and learning at schools happens there in the school environment. It was a big difference. And also it was for us as teachers here at the university, because we also needed to start to use this kind of new kind of equipments in that way. And well, of course, there were a lot of different challenges. For example, technical challenges. These are not designed for learning and teaching. These are designed for meetings. And of course, this is something that needed to understand it a little bit in another way. Also, of course, when you teach from your own home, you need perhaps, it's not only that you have a computer and there is a camera. I, for example, needed to buy some lights for doing my teaching. I needed to buy some microphones. That was not offered by the university. That was something that you need to do. And also, I started to do some videos, learning videos for students, maximum half an hour, 30 minutes. And that was also quite challenging, because it took a lot of time to shoot a video, good kind of quality learning video that allowed the students to participate and watch it, so that they have still motivation to watch the whole video. So it can't be long. You need to really strictly think, okay, what is the main issue? What is your focus, where it is, how to tell a good story, how to make a narrative, what kind of images you will use. All of that was quite a big issue, but of course interesting as well. But something that challenged, for example, me quite a lot, and took a lot time.
Looking back, what was one of the most innovative solutions you came across?
Yeah, well, what I think was solution to make kind of videos, but because it helped, in a way to share your ideas, and also help to give for the students the possibility to learn wherever they are. So they didn't need to come to the university and to the lecture hall at strict time once in a week. It has the possibility to look at the videos, and the videos were then also uploaded to the Moodle. That I think that quite many knows what the Moodle is, the learning environment that we use. They had possibilities to do assignments on the Moodle and also read some material, books, articles, and watch the videos. So it was kind of open environment or virtual learning environment where they had possibilities to do and learn whenever they wanted. That was, I think, the one that I learned to use, and I still use the same kind of methods. But the difference is that I now have also some lectures here in at the university in a lecture hall, but they will be and they are recorded, but then also uploaded to the Moodle. But there are still some assignments that students do whenever they have time.
On an institutional level, what kind of general infrastructure or strategies were provided by your university?
Well, we have some kind of strategy, digitalization strategy, but I just try to find out what it really is. It is quite in a general level. It's difficult to know what what they are trying to do in practice. But of course, we have many different applications. Maybe we need to use 5 or 6 different applications every day, some for the management, some for the teaching. So I didn't find any differences that there is something special for the teaching, but of course there we have well, it's kind of there are discussions, of course, but nothing in the university website about that or in our intra site. So that's the little bit complicated system, and also these environments or application could change quite rapidly. For example, I just heard that one system that we just learned to use will change in 2 months. So that's the one thing that there is a lot of going on, but difficult to know what the practice really is. But the strategy is that the university would like to digitalize as much as possible, and also that the teachers has a chance to give some, for example, use distance education, distance teaching, so that they could give lectures from their home. And it's also perhaps one reason is that then we do not need so many offices here at the university because teachers also are at home. So there are these kind of strategies going on, but we will see what will happen in next years.
According to you, how do you think can virtual and physical settings be connected more successfully in teacher education?
Well, I think that one problem is that thinking is quite technological focused, so that technology goes first, and then people try to think, okay, what I do with these technologies? What do I do with Zoom, for example? And what we will need, and what perhaps could be the solutions, is that we will focus more on pedagogy. We can talk about, for example, or use the term digital pedagogy. I'm not sure is it good term, because pedagogy is never digital, but that's the term that usually people use in these times, and it's also used also in the research. But anyway, the focus more on pedagogy, how to use digital technology in a way that it benefits the learning and teaching, and that's something that need to be focused more. And perhaps there could be different kind of solutions for that. We start to do, as I mentioned, some kind of short videos that will be uploaded to the different learning environments, and use it as kind of starting points for discussions, so that we turn the teaching and learning upside down in a way. That could be one way to do it. But that's something that we need to perhaps focus more on the future, and focus, as I mentioned already, to the different kind of digital pedagogies. How to do teaching and learning in a way that it is better than it has been.
Some teacher educators are still critical of digitalization. What would you like to tell them?
That's a good point. Of course, you should be critical. Uh, we know quite a lot about, or I'm not sure, do we really know, but there's a discussions, for example, what kind of power the big tech companies use. They gather our information. They use the information purposes that we do not know. It's also at schools. We don't know how the different information are gathered, for example, from the students and pupils. So that's the thing, that there should be critical perspective to the technologies all the time and make questions about it. Who owns the technologies? For what technologies are used? Are they designed in a way that benefit especially teaching and learning, or are they something else? What are the digital rights of the people? What are the digital rights of children and young people? Those are important questions, especially when we are now going in the directions where artificial intelligence and all of that are there somewhere, and we don't see it. So technology is in somehow black boxed. We don't see inside it. There are a lot of algorithms. There are a lot of stuff that we don't know how it works and for what it will be used. So that's the important point, especially when we talk about media literacy and digital literacy. And that's also something that I'm teaching here in our faculty.
Universities, in particular, are highly complex systems that need a long time to change and adapt in terms of teaching, research, and administration. If you think about 5 years from now, what do you think is most important to successfully support the digital transformation in teacher education?
It's a difficult question to think the future. Once again, I had just a lecture today where we, with the students, started to think and look at back 45 years from now. That was 1979. And what was the technology at that time? And it was quite a different than we see today. Of course, some, well, the new technology and old technology, they are intertwined. But now, when we are in a point where the artificial intelligence is the, well, I'm not sure is it the most important, but it's something that has been raised to the discussion more and more all the time. So is there perhaps something that will change things and also bring something new? That's something that, of course, is important when we will think the future. But still, I think that your question was about supporting the digital transformation in the teacher programs, is to look at, once again, to pedagogies. So whatever the technology is, we need to think, what is the good pedagogy to use in teacher education? And of course, we need to understand perhaps also the media environments of the children and young people. Do we understand, for example, these days, what it is, what media and how children and young people are using it? That's important for teachers to understand, that they could also design learning environments and perhaps benefit from the practices of young children. And that's one thing that I think that teachers do not know necessarily, what kind of learning environments children have at the moment. For example, if I look at some research that I have been done some years ago at schools, I did the ethnography, for example, where I followed some of the students' everyday media and how they use their media in their everyday life. And for example, that they learned writing and reading by using media with the games or playing with each others, because it was the kind of website or game where they needed to design kind of narratives and stories, and it was the learning about the writing. And that was something that teachers didn't know anything about, that students are doing these kind of activities. But this is important to know for the students to know what the kids are really doing, and if there is something that they can bring to the classroom or to the teaching practices, it could be interesting and also children-centered in a way that they can show that they understand the children's everyday life and media use, and benefit that somehow also in their own teaching practices.